Hello, welcome to the Physiology of Endurance Running. We're back for another episode of Dan's Road to Valencia. Dan's with me as always. How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, good, thanks. Much more positive week, which is nice,
Yep.
just to set the tone. I think it was a bit moany last week, but yeah, I'm back, feeling
Back
good,
on the tools.
back on the tools.
On the
But
tools, yeah.
yeah,
So we're 6 weeks to go to Valencia. Week commencing 14th of October. We're really into the meat of it, aren't we? Like, it doesn't feel like it's 6 weeks to go to Valencia, but here we are.
yeah. In my head, I'm trying to not count down, but that's quite tricky when you're doing a
Yeah.
podcast each week, going right,
Sorry
six
for
weeks to
reminding me.
go. So yeah, you 6 weeks. It's not long, is it? But it's still like when you think about the amount of training you can get done in 6 weeks, and you know. 4 weeks of really solid training, like plus the taper. I tend to push it to a more of like a 10-day, week and a half taper. So that's still 4.5 weeks of training left. There's loads of time. Loads of time.
100%. And it's not just this, it's what you've done the rest of the year and the last 3, 4, 5 years. I listened to that David Roche podcast today, and he's talking about the previous 18 years of running. So,
Yeah, I mean exactly. Like you
more
can't.
goes into it, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like actually, 6 weeks. Fitness can change a fair bit 6 weeks, but you're not going to go from running a marathon in 3 hours to running it in 2 hours a year. So it's definitely years upon years of training. So don't get too worked up about that final period. Everyone wants it to go like a dream, don't they? But it never does. Like as I've demonstrated last week. Yeah.
So
I think should we before we get into my week, we have some exciting news.
yeah,
We were approached by Soar Running, the running apparel company, saying they'd like to support this show. So for the next couple of months, we are coming to you courtesy of Soar Running. So thank you very much, Soar, for believing in us, thinking we're putting out some good content, we're just really happy to about people that believe in us and think we're putting out good stuff, but also have a product that is a company that's producing really high quality kit, support the show.
Yeah, 100%. It seems see a lot of their kit is designed by runners and has maybe some of runners, I don't want to say problems, but some of the challenges, especially with the marathon in mind. Things like the marathon shorts with pockets for gels. I know for me personally, having done marathons, that's always a consideration: is how am I going to carry my fuel? For some of Dan's marathons, he gets bottles or tables provided, but for others, I think Valencia, you're going to be carrying your own gels, aren't you? So
yeah, I'll be carrying my own gels at Valencia, and I had a pair of Ron Hill shorts with some pockets in last year, which were just about good enough. I love Ron Hill products, some great Ron Hill products out there, without dissing their brands, but not quite the same quality as the Soar stuff. And I think for me, like I've joined Pontypridd Rodents a year ago, or 18 months ago. Can't remember how long I've been with them. Oh wow. Anyway, I don't know.
yeah,
January this time. Regardless of that, one of the cool things was they've got the Soar running vests, and it's just a different world compared to the other numerous club vests I've worn in over the last 15, 16 years of running. I was saying to Owain before we started recording, you'd be I've got some nice vests that I'd be doing my training sessions in, and then you come to these big races that you prepared like months and months for. You stick on your club vest, and it weighs twice as much. It's got like seams everywhere that rub, and
tears your nipples to bits.
yeah, tears all your skin to bits, just chafing everywhere. And like it gets wet, you throw some water over your head in a marathon, you've suddenly gained a kilo in weight. Whereas actually now, it's you just psychologically you put the vest on, you go, yeah, I'm ready to race now. So if you haven't worn them, the club vests are like really good, like paper thin, light as, really breathable, and just like no seams at all. So you don't have that rubbing issue. So I'm a big fan of the Soar vest. So clubs, go get a Soar vest if you haven't already. Owain runs for
I've done
croupier.
I've sorted out the Soar vest for groups before. Yeah, no, definitely go get them. I mean, like the contrast from the say like the Rhino Cardiff Met vest that
Oh,
we've
blimey,
both
yeah.
worn to a
Yeah.
saw vest is night and day. And yeah, as you say, like you spend fine tune your shoes and your socks and your shorts, and then you chuck on this horrible vest. So it's really quality gear, and I mean we're both really excited to work with Saw a bit.
Yeah, so really cool. Go check them out if you haven't already. Really, really good quality stuff. So let's start. Should we go for just training week then? So we sort of like left off the last Road to Valencia episode saying I'd had a bit of a shit week. Felt being a bit unwell. Had 3 days off over the weekend, and then actually I gave a spoiler of on my Monday, feeling a lot better. Got out, did 10 miles, 16k. And felt just woke up that day feeling normal, ran, felt normal. Pace was pretty good, 4:12 a k, and heart rate's about right for what it should be. Like, what was I just averaged here, 122 for me, which is pretty much what I'd expect, and felt great. So that was good. Didn't want to push it, just 16k for that day. All right, great. I'll do a session. So that was Monday. Tuesday, thought, well, I haven't done the intensity for, I think I worked it out as like 9 days since Cardiff half. So went to the lab, wanted to do a really controlled session and take some lactates around it to make sure things were looking good. So the plan was up to 10 times 6 minutes, depending how I was feeling, and started off at 18k an hour, which for me is quite specific in that normally if I'm just reasonably fit, 18k an hour, which is 5:22 a mile, 3:20 a k, is about my LT1. If I'm just averagely fit, not super fit, not super unfit. So started off there. Yeah, great. 6 minutes, heart rate fine. Took a lactate sample but didn't analyze it straight away because I was using a lab analyzer, which takes a couple of minutes to basically collect the sample, analyze it. So just did that. Didn't use the lactate probe to get an instant one. So collected the sample but didn't analyze it. Heart rate looking fine. Effort feeling about right. So okay, 18k an hour. Next one, 18.3k an hour, just a little bit faster. Again, took a lactate sample but didn't analyze it. Heart rate looking all right. Moved on to 18.6, and here suddenly felt really, really hard. And my heart rate started off nice and low at about in my high 150s, and my heart, for reference, my threshold is normally about 170, so like way below threshold. But then it just kept drifting up, and by the 6 minutes I was like at what's I peak at 100. Let's just get it up here. Heart rate drifted all the way up to 166 for 18.6k an hour, but like I could feel that this was like way above threshold and just felt hard. I took a lactate sample, measured it afterwards, 6 millimole. And I was like, for me, normally I'd be after running at like 21k an hour, so like 250k pace to hit 6 millimole. And it was 18.6k an hour is slower than my marathon PB pace. And I just ran a half marathon at like 19.5k an hour. So for me, that was a good sign. Things weren't quite right still. Felt all right running, but like just be where my thresholds were, and actually where the lactate was produced, but the lactate seemed to have decoupled from heart rate, so things just felt bad. I decided to do one more rep at 18.3, took a lactate after that, and it was sort of 18.3 now felt really, really hard. Took a lactate afterwards, and it was like 6 millimole still, so I hadn't cleared anything. So for me on that day, looked like my threshold was about 18.3k an hour, which is 1.7k an hour slower than it was in my lab test pre-Cardiff half. So I don't think I'd have lost that much fitness, especially with just 3 days off. So my interpretation of that was still not quite right, something going on. Although I felt normal-ish, in terms of I felt well day to day, like something was going on, either affecting like mitochondria or whatever. But I decided then that let's call it a day on that session. Because I was feeling all right and I wanted to get some volume in, I just jogged for 40 minutes afterwards. But like really jogged, I was like 8-minute miling, 5-minute Ks. And yeah, that was Tuesday. But I guess like the value there for me was just knowing what my normal response would be, which is why I did it in the lab, like really controlled environment where I've done loads of sessions and I know what my normal physiological response is. And it was just like completely different. So that was my time. Intensity wasn't a good day today, but probably can still get some volume in. That was my interpretation from that. So yeah, did actually ended up running 20k in with an hour and a half of running after a really long cool down, and actually went out in the evening and did 10k 4:22 a k pace, 7-minute miling. Felt like I'd done a hard session, felt like I'd done a session where I'd hit 6 millimole, but actually didn't feel unwell. Like my heart rate was a bit higher as well, which is pretty normal after a big session. But considering it was only 4 by 6 minutes at not very fast paces, that was the day. Wednesday, 16k 10 miles in the morning. Bit of a I had to get up really early for this one, so I was teaching in Swansea for the day. So I was up at 5:30, drove to Swansea, ran 16k 10 miles. 7 o'clock, then did my teaching, and then managed to get in on a treadmill, just 8k 5 miles, very slow. Afterwards, feeling normal again. But yeah, it was good. Thursday, wanted to double, didn't have time to double, so just did a half marathon. 4:20k 7-minute miling. Where have we got up to now? That brings us to
Friday session.
So Friday, I thought, right, Tuesday was not great, but I'm feeling I've done a few days of easy running, got in a good volume, feeling completely fine. So I thought, let's just actually go and repeat exactly what I did on the Tuesday and see if my response is better this time. And luckily it was much better. So did the whole 10 by 6 minutes, started off 18k an hour, and again I did 2 stages at 18, so I wanted to make sure that my lactate was pretty stable to start with. And if you're on my Strava, you can see that I've written the speeds and lactates alongside each rep. But started with 18, about 1.8 for the first one, 1.2 for the second one. So yeah, often that's quite normal. I see a bit of a high lactate on that first rep, just as the aerobic system is gearing up. But yeah, 1.8, then 1.2 for 18. Put it up to 18.3, and it was 1.5. Put it up to 18.6, and that was 1.3. So contrast, 18.6k an hour on the Friday, I had a 1.3 millimole lactate compared to on the Tuesday where it was 6 millimole. That was quite reassuring. But yeah, I'm back to big difference, feeling pretty much normal. So yeah, 18.6 was 1.3, and then 18.9 was 2.1. So there's a little bit of a jump there, but I'd say that actually my LT1's probably about between 18.6 and 18.9k an hour, which is getting back to what it was in the lab test before Cardiff half. So yeah, 18.9 was 2.1. Then I just put it at 19.1 for the last 5. So I have been going up in 0.3 increments, and I thought, actually, this is getting about the right intensity. I'll look it on 19.1 because that's 2:12:30 pace, which is goal pace. And I just held it there, and actually lactate was nice and stable at between 2 between 2 and 2.5 millimole for every rep. So yeah, 2.5 to 1.9, 2.2, 2.6. There was a little bit of variability there, but I think that was primarily because it was me taking the lactates by myself. So I was like Michael Jackson running along with one glove on my hands for 10 by 6 minutes to try and not get sweat in the sample, but even then it's a bit tricky. But yeah, actually heart rate nice and stable, lactate nice and stable. So yeah, 19.1 was below LT2 from that interpretation. 100% from lactate, what the lactate was doing, nice and stable, and like the RP and my heart rates. Don't think it's quite 20 yet, but maybe like 19.5. It's hard to know. But yeah, it's certainly getting back to what I was pre-virus. So that was really nice, good confidence booster. Got in 22, and yeah.
I was gonna say it's nice to have that sort of extra method of sort of monitoring your recovery as well, that the vast majority of people aren't going to have. And I'd argue even if you have like a Lactate Pro, like I don't know, I feel like if you saw a 6 millimole reading on a lactate pro, you'd just be like, oh, it's just the
dodgy
lactate.
reading.
Yeah. Whereas in the lab, we've got a lab-based device that actually calibrates every hour. So you're pretty confident, unless you really mess up the sample, it's not going to be wrong. So it's just a really nice, if you didn't have that that ability to measure that, then maybe on Tuesday you would have just been like, oh, I'm just feeling rubbish because I've been ill, and push through it and actually set yourself back a few more days. And
yeah,
nice to have that.
I think you can do a lot with just like pace and heart rate, because my heart rate on a Tuesday wasn't behaving normally either, in terms of like I was getting massive drifts. I was finding like a heart rate that I could normally run for a marathon like really, really hard, and it was just not stabilizing. It was just drifting upwards. So there still are some clues there, but yeah, I think just having the lactate as well for me, right, made it an easy decision. But this was not, and my body was not responding normally, so there's no point stressing it. But it's also like, for me, which is something I used to like I get frustrated because you'd have a session like that and then go, right, you just need to keep plowing on and pushing hard. But actually, if you just give your body the time, it will jump back again. It's the same when I think I've been like borderline overtrained, like not quite like full blown overtraining syndrome, but I pushed it a bit hard and then gone, right, actually, Dan, like, you just need to back off for a few days. You back off a few days, take it really, really easy, go back and do a session, and you have a massive improvement in performance. So I think it's just actually just giving your body the time and looking and using the variables you've got. If that's just like RPE, if even that's just pace and RPE, then that's a really good starting point, because fitness is not going to change massively over, I had 3 days off of training, so fitness isn't going to change massively at all. It might change a little bit, but it's not going to change that much. So if you're seeing like pace, the RPE and pace is massively mismatched compared to what it was pre-illness, and that's a good sign that things are not quite right yet. So just be patient.
Maybe say chronic fitness isn't going to change, but acutely, if you keep pushing through that, you're going to set yourself back.
Yeah. I think if I'd gone, right, I'm just gonna, because I had in my head, my decision then on the Tuesday was, right, my threshold then, if I reckon I could have gone at 18k an hour at 520, which is 320 a k, 520 a mile basically, and my lactate would have been fine. I would have got through it and done 10 by 6 minutes. But my body obviously wasn't normal in terms of, it wasn't fully recovered from the virus. So I think I could have just dug myself a hole. And I nearly did that. So I think, well, if my lactate's all right and my heart rate's all right and I'm feeling okay, I could do that. But I think that would have that would have 100% been the wrong call. It's just hard to make that decision in the moment, isn't it? When you're always tempted thinking, oh, I could get this work done. This was on the plan, 10 by 6 minutes. But I'm getting old and wise, hopefully wiser now, and I can just trying to be better at making those decisions. And if you use it, if you're bothering to collect these variables like lactate and the heart rate and everything, then actually you need to pay attention to them. So there's no point just collecting data for data's sake, is there? So use it to make good decisions, which is, I think, what sports science can add. It's just helping, because plenty of athletes there's many of East Africans running world-class times with no sports science support.
Running isn't particularly difficult, is it? Like there's not actually. I was having this conversation earlier that you could basically do the same session twice a week and just slightly vary a few things, and then a long run, and you'd probably perform as well as a really elaborate program. But like you say, sports science can be those like bumpers when you're bowling, can't they? Like, if you're bowling it down the middle all the time, you don't need them, but the times where you go wrong, actually those bumpers keep the ball in.
I like that analogy. That's good. I think it just helps you. I think sports science can help you make good decisions. I think it just can help you make the right decision and which direction you need to go in your training, and when's too much, when's not enough, and just but you can either through fluke or just having a really, really good coach who knows what to pay attention to, you can get away with having no sports science support, because there's been plenty of examples of world-class athletes, world record holders who've probably never had their lactate measured or been in a lab, but doesn't necessarily mean what they were doing was optimal either. So and sometimes you're just lucky. But I think just sports science can help you make good decisions. I think it's not going to make or break you as an athlete. You still need to go and put the work in, but like you said, like, it's a simple sport. There's only 3 variables you can play with: intensity, duration, and frequency, and that's whether across a week, day, month, whatever. So there's only so many ways you can play that out, really. yeah. So that was Friday. Really happy with that. Feeling better. Just confident, like, yeah, knowing I'm not quite in the fitness I was, but I think that will just come back from consistent training. Some of those adaptations that go quickly come back really quickly, like blood volume and things like that. So yeah, I had a nice debrief, cool down outside with my podcast co-host here. Did 5K cool down outside. And I just raved to him about how happy I was, but I'm feeling well again and all my lactates. Yeah, and then did 10K in the evenings. Ended up being a pretty big day. I think it was 37K of running. So yeah, it was good. Saturday I was working Saturday and Sunday, unfortunately. So Saturday I managed to get in 20K at lunchtime and then go to the gym afterwards, which was good. Takes the gym session off. I'm really happy to keep that consistency going. And then Sunday, I was going to have some time later in the day. I thought about 2 hours to get in a long run, but then ended up just randomly waking up at 5 a.m. and was really awake. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go get it done, because I wasn't really going to have time to do what I wanted in that 2 hour window I had later in the day. As I said, I was working. So did 30K, pretty comfortable pace, 4:16 a K. Yeah, 2 hours, 8 minutes of running, but yeah, just nice and easy, with my head torch along the canal. And yeah, that was my week. So 180K, which is just shy of 112 miles, 13 hours of running, hardly any climbing, because I always avoid the hills and run on the treadmill half the time. 403 meters according to Strava. But yeah, felt like that was a sort of a turning point. Got back into routine. Hopefully can just progress from there into like a normal, really good last 4.5 weeks or so of proper training.
Yeah, I think for me, apart from the we talked about the sessions, but I think anyone that doesn't follow you on Strava, like go, or even if you follow Dan on Strava, go just look through the times that you've run, like the time of day. Like, I know you said through choice, but I know that yesterday you were at Cardiff Met testing people most of the day. I can see the lab schedule as well, so I can see that you're testing. What were you testing? 10, 12, or did you have you had a gap in the middle of the day?
So yeah, I was doing testing with Welsh Vertex performance athletes. So yeah, I had one at 10, one at 12. And then I had a gap, so I didn't have the next one until 4. So I had a 2 hour gap, but I wanted to get in 30K at least of running, and 30K in 2 hours. I'd have had to plus changing, eat something and all that. It would have been a bit tight. So I wouldn't have realistically been able to do 30K. Yeah. So that was what I just thought. The other thing is I could, I didn't have to start till 10, but Jemima wanted to run as well. So, and if she's having my son Nye all day, then it's only fair that she gets to run too. So,
So you've done your Sunday long run at 5:38 in the morning. Saturday, although it looks like 12:24, so elite athlete hours there, but again, you were testing. That's why you started your run at Cardiff Met. And then rest of the week, 7 in the morning doing your session. On a Thursday, the only time you could run was 7 in the evening. I think it's just something I when I was looking through your week before we started, I just sort of wanted to really emphasize that, like, you are actually one of the busiest people I know, like obscenely busy at times. And the fact that you're fitting this in is I think something notable, because there's people that are running, mid 220s that like are able to treat this like a full-time job, and you're able to fit 108, well, this week 180K around, around essentially 6 days a week of work. I think it's just worth noting. And I, like I said, go if you don't follow Dan already, just follow him and just like keep an eye out on this is when you start hiding the time of day that you've run. But yeah, like the time of day, it's just I think there's barely any runs at 10 a.m, which is the proper elite athlete, like 10 a.m run and then go get a coffee sort of thing.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'm just waiting for this podcast to take off, and this will be our job, Owain, that you see. Podcasting and some coaching and
I saw someone ask when you got those on shoes from Philly whether you're an influencer now, so
Well, apparently I'm an
Getting votes.
influencer now because people are feeling influenced. So I'm an influencer. In my books, you're not an influencer until you start doing talking pieces to camera. Then you're definitely
yeah.
an influencer.
Yeah, when you're on with a GoPro, then
If you're I'm running with a GoPro, you're well into being an influencer.
yeah, that'll go down well really
but
badly with Welsh athletics if you start Valencia with a GoPro.
Oh, blimey heck. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think going back to like fitting training in, like I think one of the reasons why I think running is like the best sport, which it obviously is because out of the other endurance sports, it's like the only one you could do and compete at a high level whilst actually having a job and other stuff going on. Like, you know, if you want to be a professional triathlete or world class triathlete, you're gonna have to do 25 to 30 hours a week of training. I couldn't do 25 to 30 hours a week of training. If I wanted to be a swimmer, like again, like we're talking similar numbers, a cyclist, similar numbers. You need to be putting out 25 plus hours a week of training. Running, like no one's I don't think anyone's really doing more than 15 hours. And you can be operating a high level of 12 to 13 hours. And that is something you can, not easily, but you can fit around a full-time job and kids and whatever. And like, obviously it's not easy. Like, you know, I'm definitely choosing between running and sleeping a lot, but and it's always that balance as well. That's like the difference. I think it's like athletes talk about the recovery time that you can have, and that does allow you to probably do a bit more training or recover better. But sometimes for me, it's making a call. Actually, you know what, Dan? There's no point getting up at 6 a.m. to run because you're already like feeling like knackered now, just like sleep deprived. So you're just better off just doing less the next day. But yeah, anyway, it's one of those ones you just learn what fits. And like for me, like I said, I do my sessions on Tuesday and Fridays because I don't have to do nursery drop off that day. So I get up at 6, drive to Cardiff Met, and then I can do my session 7 till 9. I've got a track there if I can get on it, if it's open. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. If not, I've got a lab treadmill, which is great, or I can go to Butte Park and there's loops down there, but it's a bit dark at the minute, so 7. So I've been doing more on my treadmill, but yeah, we'll have to get my head torch out. But yeah, actually, overall, good week. Really happy. Hopefully, like I said, building block to the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, nice. I think all done.
All done, I think. Yeah. Anything else you want? Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? I've got some gossip and rumors which I thought I would add into the end of his podcast.
Here we go.
So apologies, my email notification's going off here. So I've heard it on good authority. Commonwealth Games in Glasgow.
Oh, I've seen this tweeted now.
It's out, is it?
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be breaking news. I've heard on good authority there's going to be no marathon. Because the cost of closing the roads is going to be too much. Similarly, there's the triathlon. It's going to be an e-triathlon, so it's going to be swimming in a pool, biking on Zwift, running on Zwift on a treadmill. So I think that's a real shame. It's pretty disappointing. For me personally, it's disappointing because that would be another goal that I could set myself and trying to qualify for Commonwealth Games. I was 4 seconds off the nomination standards for Birmingham. Standard was 2:15:30. I ran 2:15:34. I wouldn't have got picked, I think, if I'd run just inside, because it's only a nomination standard. It's up to the Team Wales to actually make the decisions. But I was in with a shot of being picked. But also just more generally, like the marathon is like iconic in terms of Commonwealth Games. If you look through the list of people who are running it, like who've gone and won it in the past, there's big names on there. I meant to get it up and have a look.
You know, in Birmingham, didn't the current world champion win? His name slipped my mind, but I think the current men's world champion won the Birmingham marathon as well.
Well, yeah, it's also like the marathon. Some events in the Commonwealth Games for standard is not world class. Like just like if you think about like the throws, for example, in athletics, the countries that dominate the throws are the Eastern Europeans primarily, and obviously there's no Eastern Europeans in the Commonwealth Games. But if you look at the marathon, like you got Kenya, We've got the home nations, Australia, all of those countries have got really good endurance backgrounds. I mean, primarily Kenya, and it's normally not the best Kenyans, but they're world-class runners.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had some visa issues, didn't they, with Birmingham, which would have affected their team.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, no, I guess
Uganda
some.
as well. That's Commonwealth, right? Uganda.
Yeah, true.
So we've
I
got
guess some countries don't maybe send their best, but then others do. I guess it depends on their sort of priority, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the Australian team is always pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just I was trying to find a list of previous winners, but you've got the likes of like Ron Hill, and he's definitely won it. Paula Radcliffe, did she win the Commonwealth Games marathon? I don't know. I really meant to find a list and then got to do that. And Wikipedia is not sorting me out here. It's just finding a specific marathon.
Yeah, I mean, like Bridget Kosgei has the record from 2019. 2019?
Yeah, I mean, like Ugandan, yeah, and you got Tanzania in there as well. So it was Victor Kiplangat who won the men's at Birmingham.
Jess Stenson won the women's.
Yeah.
And that was the women's was a really good race as well. Like, yeah, it's not Berlin or Chicago fast, but it's a good race.
Yeah. It's just disappointing, I think. And yeah. And yeah, the only upside is that apparently Kenya are applying for the next Commonwealth Games. Now they're definitely going to have a marathon in that one. Like, yeah, you're not going to have if they end up hosting it, which would be cool to have Kenya hosting it. I think that would be you'd have a good atmosphere there, and nice that it's not just a home nations then Australia cycle back and forth. But we will see. I
just see it. Yeah, so yeah, as you said, Victor Kiplangat won in Birmingham, and he then won the world's marathon the next year. Like,
I mean,
he's obviously a quality runner.
Yeah,
like it's a bit slower, but still a good race, isn't it? So it's
it's just kind of, we've had there's been surprises as well. Like we've had Australians win it, and I don't know. I think it's just a bit of a shame. And how much money can it cost? Like, just do a loop course. Like, it doesn't have to be a city centre course. Like, a 2-mile loop and do 13 laps of that. I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, if there's a rowing lake nearby, you'll have like a 5K loop around that. There's tarmac.
Or just close a park. It doesn't have to be closing roads, does it? Like, I don't know. Anyway, right. We ended up with a depressing note again, didn't we?
Sorry.
But that was my fault. But yeah.
No, I think it's interesting. It's interesting to hear the thoughts of someone that is, on the cusp of that event, because it is going to change what you do.
That was a big target for me, to be honest. Like this one, I obviously making this European road running champs is it's a dream. I always just wanted to qualify, get a British vest in a conventional distance, because I've done 50k champs twice. European and world 50k champs, and that was great. But I'd love to say I've run for GB over the marathon. That'd be really cool. And Commonwealth Games is the other one. To have a proper international where you can run for one of the home nations is that's the only opportunity you get to do that. You only get to do it every 4 years, and people know. Everyone knows what the Commonwealth Games is, regardless of if you're a runner or not. People know when the Commonwealth Games are, what they're happening, what the deal is there, and the marathon standard for the world champs is 2:06:30. I mean, next Olympic Games will be 2:06:30, and there's no chance in hell I'm ever going to run 2:06:30. But I could run. I reckon I could run 2:12, maybe a bit faster. Not necessarily this time, but I'm only 30 years old. I've got a few more years left, I think, of progress to be made. And yeah, they're the sort of teams you think, oh yeah, I could, that B tier of marathon runners like myself would go, yeah, I think I've got a chance of making that, which is just something to work towards. Like when I saw the time come out for the European Road Champs, that made me excited and more motivated to really go for it for Valencia, because that was a time that was, I thought, yeah, potentially doable. Like, not easily, obviously. I'd still be a big marathon. It's going to be a stretch goal, and I'm going to have to go. I think it's going to go perfect. And his training blocks have to go really, really well. but it's achievable. Whereas before I was going in thinking, right, well, I want to try and run a PB, but that's not quite as motivating as trying to make a team. And I probably was less. I was going to give it a really good go, but less all in mentality. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. I don't think it's been officially confirmed yet, but I've
I
had
think
it on
it's
pretty
in a
good
report
quality.
to the council that
Right, is it?
they
There we
shouldn't do
go.
it. So
Yeah,
I guess we'll see what they decide.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Right, let's wrap up there. Another
Yep.
shout out to Saw Running for really grateful for your support for the next couple of months. We'll give you some kit reviews. I'm in a build up, especially those marathon shorts. When I get them, I'll test them out for a test run and tell you if they're worth buying or not. But I've only ever heard good things, so I'm pretty sure we get a good positive review of that. But yeah,
Nice.
let's wrap it up there. I'm starting to ramble now. We'll catch you in a week's time to let you know how this current training week's gone.
See you next week.